doesn't really change that much over time. I mean, I started playing Dota since like 10 years ago, and there's still like similar players and similar drafts and kind of similar themes on how you play the game, because it's kind of a puzzle that people kind of figured out in a way, but then it keeps changing, so they have to reinvent the same stuff that they figured out back then.
Be honest, if Earth Spirit gets buff, are you coming back?
Okay, chill. He just laughs. That's very concerning.
That is not a confirm nor denial.
Oh, I mean,
Yeah, he's
Jirax, I feel like I
yeah.
know you very well. I was helping out with
Don't have
TI
to call that.
content. Yes, and I saw a lot of replays from you, or a lot of in-game chat from you. And out of all the players in the booths for the last 2 to 3 TIs, you're one of the only people that's a real goddamn sicko. He's the only one that would chase someone down laughing as he murdered them over and over, and then laughing about it afterwards, and then immediately saying, "I'm gonna go kill them again," and laughing again. You're a nightmare, sir. You're terrifying, and I'm glad that you're out.
I'm very glad. I'm very glad I could do this in a video game instead of getting it somewhere else.
Okay,
What a great outlet. He's ready for the panel. This guy.
On that note, let's head over to the draft. I believe Jerax will go with the camera to the draft pantheon. Thank you for answering our questions, Jerax, and we hope to hear more of you on the non-psychopath side. Thank you.
Thank God he's gone. What the hell? It's terrifying.
He really is.
Mount Olympus siellä.
I don't know what they're talking about. I want someone with that killer instinct on my panel joining me with T-Gov and Lizard. Jerax, I know you said that you haven't played since August, but let me just test your knowledge real quick. Do you know what an outpost is by any chance? Are you still here? That's another question.
Jerax?
Try.
Hello?
Hello?
I cannot
hello.
hear anything. Sorry.
Can you hear us now,
I'm gonna
maybe?
keep talking until you say something, because I can hear you, but apparently you can't hear us.
Yeah, so let's just analyze the first 4 picks until the man can hear us, the man that actually everyone wants to listen to, and not 3 of us fools.
course
But
not.
we have Wisp and Tiny on one side, we have
Ja,
Rubik,
ik ga nou
and the
analyse
Darks here
op
opened up
op die game.
on
Wat gaan we
NIGMA.
nou
And
doen?
NIGMA, man, out of the last 10 games, they always open up with either Venge,
Zeg maar,
Rubik, or Phoenix. They don't really
guest
stray away
caster
from
al.
that. They also have this Darks here to work with. But even though they pick their comfort zone, there is Wisp Tiny on OG.
Yeah, I think coming into the series, when you look at GH's hero pool, he's only pretty much played 2 heroes this entire tournament so far, that being Rubik and then Phoenix. And interesting enough, when OG entered this tournament, they instantly whipped out the
wat
IO
gaan we
carry,
nou
and it
doen? Wat
scared
als hij
so
hier
many
kan?
teams to
Hoe kan ik hem
automatically ban
washen
it.
nu? Wat
So the
gaan
fact
we?
that NIGMA let it through, they've clearly been, like, they've got a
Okay,
plan
Shinaka.
ahead of them, I think. So it's an interesting draft so far.
All right, Jerax, we can see you now. Can you hear us as well?
I think we can hear us.
Yes, wonderfully.
Perfect.
It's
Okay.
perfectly fine right now.
So then let me rephrase
Yeah.
my question, which again, there's going to be a slight latency because we're doing everything remotely, so don't hesitate to just talk over us. We will shut our mouths instantly. You said you hadn't played since August, so I was curious, have you been keeping up with like neutral items and outposts? And I'm sure people are kind of curious what your views on those new mechanics that were added into the game are.
So initially, when they added the new items, I was very happy about it, because I think Dota has kind of progressively added like new features to the game, similar to the talent system. This is something to add on top of the whole systems, and I'm a big fan of that, because I think we kind of ended up stagnant at some point with Dota, and I think, at least from a professional standpoint, I was just expecting more. So now they added the neutral items, and I'm more than happy. But well, I haven't played the game, so I'm as new to the game as the patch would have been released almost. So I've read the patch notes, but that's about it. I don't know much about it.
Jerax, after reading the patch notes, What did you think about the Bloodseeker? Like, this hero has been dead for such a long time. He gets these incredible buffs. Your own or your own team picks it, right? But it doesn't really work out that well for them. Is it execution? Is there a place for this hero? He's been banned out, so we won't see him in this game. But it's a peculiar topic for me.
So I read the patch notes before. I don't know what happened to Bloodseeker. I believe they buffed the Blood Right because I heard somebody saying it being really annoying on the lane. I think they build it like a nuker type, kind of like a playmaker, which is kind of new. And I know nothing about it. So I'm a noob. You tell me.
Yeah, scratch that question. Let's go onward. Yeah, they pretty much just do that. They build him as a nuker, as a utility. You see Veil almost picked up every single game with Greaves, and you play around the Blood Right in the laning stage. Later on, you play around that Blood Rage. Blood Right with Veil deals like 450 on level 4. It's pretty sick on a 12-second cooldown.
Sounds pretty good.
Yeah.
I've been seeing Zai building Veil on offlane on most of the heroes, like Axe also. And I think there is something to that, I believe. Did
Just
Veil get
overall
buffed?
spell amp, yeah. Overall spell amp is just crazy because it got changed from just like magic to all spell pretty much now. So
Yeah,
that's why it's
like a year
Okay.
ago.
Oh.
right?
yeah.
But also,
the eureka moment.
Yeah. It's the drums, I guess, being nerfed as well, and you're thinking, okay, which item do I buy? Which item do I go for next? Team NIGMA, we see good old school combo, Darkseer and Clockwork. Do you think this is very strong versus what OG have got picked up right now, the Wisp, Dark Willow, and Tiny?
I mean, generally, the biggest. I could talk about IO a little bit. The biggest problem of IO is team fight, and usually, Darkseer is considered very good against IO in the mid game, but on the laning stage, you're crying as a Darkseer usually. So it kind of goes. You lose the early game, and you hopefully have enough to back it up in the mid game with Darkseer, and that's usually the theme of the game.
Really interesting with
I know,
the
I
OG's
have
draft
Sven.
so far is Topson's actually been playing some mid Sven, by the way, guys.
Oh, okay. So this isn't guaranteed
No.
necessarily to be an IO support now that a Sven's on the board. Okay.
Exactly.
Oh,
So
okay.
in his pubs, he's been playing a little bit of mid Sven. He's also played some like mid Void and stuff, but that's for another day. So right now, OG aren't really kind of revealing too much because obviously, again, the IO could easily be 5 with the Sven, tiny mid. You could easily, put IO carry. So yeah, overall, I think OG's draft, it's all about like unity. And look, coming into the series, a little bit of research. Team NIGMA, they actually are a very traditional like 4 protect 1 style. Mind control. When you look at the overall last hits in the game, he's actually like less last hits than GH, for example. And it's all about just
Well, Ricky
enabling this
van
big
Lekker
kind of boss
uitgevat
core that
zonder
Miracle
karaoke.
play. On OG, on the other hand, their team, that last hits are very evenly spread between
Yeah.
1 to 3. 4 and 5 are somewhat sacrificed. And in terms of like the deaths, OG, they die together or they lived killed together. There's their overall death average is within like 5. They're all so close. So I think.
But it's Team NIGMA, it's we, this is we Ranger, right? And this is Darkseer on the offlane, most likely. And if Darkseer is on the offlane, you have Sven, who just free farms under the tower. Am I wrong reading that, Jerax?
Well, so Jerax, I am curious that as a 4-position enthusiast, do you consider Wind Ranger to be on the come up? Are there any 4 positions that have impressed you recently in terms of any 4-position heroes that have kind of surprised you that you're like, oh wow, I didn't realize that this could be played as a 4?
I mean, I think the Phoenix is kind of sneaking back at least what GH is doing. I think that's something I miss from my days. But the thing is that I had a very specific role in my team back then, and I feel like if I didn't feel that role, we would probably end up in trouble. So I kind of had to play the playmaking heroes most of the games. And that's how we felt the most comfortable with. And I miss those like the farm heavy. Like you could, there was the meta with Lina, for example, where you could farm a lot. And Phoenix is one of them. Grimstroke is kind of one of them also. Yeah, I mean, I haven't really been surprised too much. I feel like there's very similar heroes. The Clockwork is kind of the more interesting one. They probably buffed him because he was absolutely garbage back then.
How much did you watch Saxa play? Do you think that he can recreate your tiny airlines if he is playing the position 4 here? Or is this
So
actually a
I think
Thompson most
Saxa.
likely?
Yeah, I think it's more likely Thompson because Thompson is mainly playmaking type on this team, at least. I mean, he plays the Arc Warners for sure, but I think his role in this team is more so gonna be focused on the playmaking part. And I think Saksa is the more farm type. If you look at Yapsor, I think you're gonna see a lot of similarities how they play, and that's obviously different from what I am. And I'm very excited to see how it fits with OG. And mid one, because I think with Ana, I don't think it would have worked, but I think mid one is very adaptive by how he plays, and so is Thompson. So I think Saxa can make it work in this.
And we see the troll banned out by OG next. This probably does mean that. What do you think? Your Sven should be the core still here with the mid tiny, these two supports on Dark Willow and Wisp. That's how I'm looking at the OG's draft right now, at least. The Team NIGMA, like, their draft does not look like a mystery. When you see this, you're expecting Wind Ranger mid, this dual offlane, and they're saving their last pick for Miracle.
Which, to be fair, is kind of rare for them because they've been first phasing Miracle's heroes very frequently. These first phase anti-mages, usually against a Darkseer, but here it seems like Miracle is keeping his cards close to his chest, and yeah, that's why OG banned out the troll.
Yeah, that normally happens when they see a very clear weakness in the opening from their opponent. That's when you can instantly lock in Miracle's hero. But when you see IO Tiny, there's the flexibility for OG on these heroes. You can't really lock in a hero. That's where OG will outplay you in the draft. So that's why they're trying to leave it to the last pick, so they can at least spend a little bit of their reserve time and work things out. So with Sanking pickup,
yeah, this kind of makes the TV pickup a little bit harder as well. It hasn't been banned out. They go for the Morphling. Right, it is a hero that's decent versus Sven, right? Overall, you can build into that Skadi eventually. But Sven just comes online a little bit faster, and the way he farms, if you make enough stacks for him, this looks like a scary game for Morph.
but it's a big Morphling game with the Axe. You can come Sanking for the stun, the Willow for, the pew 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 pew.
That's true, yeah. The
see?
Willow Ags is...
Do you actually still build Ags on Morphling though? Like, I
If
haven't
you,
seen
if you have a
that.
good excuse, I think it's worthwhile. And Willow is one of those excuses that we see the odds 2.22 OG to 1.60 NIGMA. Jerax, how well do you know your new team?